Hey, welcome to another Whiteboard video. I'm Eric. This is Mike. We are coming to you today, and Chris is here too. You might see Chris unblinked our whiteboard for today in advance instead of drawing as we go, because this is a meaty topic. Today we're getting a little bit tactical. We're going to be talking about SEO, and we're leading off with a little quote from Guy Kawasaki that says, "If you have more money than brains, focus on outbound. If you have more brains than money, focus on inbound." And everybody knows inbound marketing. It's a buzzy kind of word in the industry. We're going to break inbound marketing down into little chunks over the coming months. And the first one is SEO. Been around, been an important thing for a long time, but the game has changed. And so today, I'm going to take on the role of a newer marketing director. Because a newer marketing director might be like, hey, I got the title. What? That's all I need. Not so much. Because you walk into an executive meeting and the CEO goes, we need to work on SEO, and knows nothing about SEO and then expects you to execute some sort of SEO strategy. That's going to be tough if you don't know what SEO is or kind of conceptually how it works. So we want you to be able to have an educated conversation about SEO with the leadership, and we also want you to be able to engage with a vendor if you find you need help with SEO so you can talk about it intelligently. So, the master of SEO, bowing, is here. Chris is bowing too, here today.
Stop it.
Mike's going to take us through this, and we'll do a little Q&A. Like, I'm going to play the marketing director who just doesn't know a lot, and Mike's going to give us some feedback. So, first things first, what the heck is SEO, and where has it been on this journey over the last 10 years or so? So let's just say, like, I'm 27 or whatever, and I just got my first marketing director gig, and I go, I wasn't even alive when this thing started. Help me understand Obi-Wan.
Yeah, so I mean, SEO at its most basic level is getting your content to rank on Google, right? And I think we know why that's important, but I'll just say it because people go on Google to find answers to stuff, right?
Because search matters.
Search matters. So if from a marketing perspective, it's one more channel in which people can find your content, find your brand, and find out about your products and services, right? And a lot of times, you know, if you think through kind of how you use Google, and don't just get pigeonholed into Google, think like, hey, ask Google, right? Like voice, or ask Siri a question. A lot of times what those voice assistants are doing are actually doing a search on Google or some other search engine. Right. So what we're trying to do is say, search engine optimization, right? Optimizing your content so that it shows up on search engines, shows up for the right questions, the right search queries for the audience you're trying to reach.
And that's morphed over time.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The way they do that. Because I heard like keyword stuffing.
Yeah, so like 10, 12, 15 years ago, like you could just kind of throw keywords all over your website. So let's say you're a baker, right? And you're like, man, I want to rank for birthday cakes, right? So you would just throw the words birthday and cake all over your website.
Birthday cake.
Just graffiti that crap all over.
You can hide it.
Every fifth word, make it say birthday cake, right? Or hide it in the bottom. Make some white text on a white background that says birthday cake, birthday cake, birthday cake. Maybe it wasn't quite that bad, but
maybe.
I mean, people would keyword stuff, right? They would just stuff keywords into everything, and they would hide it. Like, let's say you wanted to rank for birthday cakes in every city in your kind of metro area. You would put, like, every city name down in your footer, like, hidden, like, black text on a black background. And Google wasn't super sophisticated, so they'd sniff this content. They go crawl it all. They aggregate it. And they go,
200 words on that site that say birthday cake.
Yeah, that's the most common phrase on this website. It must be about birthday cakes, so we'll rise it to the top of search engine listings for when someone types.
But now that hurts you if you try to do that.
Yeah, so Google got pretty savvy pretty quick to like how people were gaming the system, right? Because people were just gaming it, and they're like, wait a minute. And so now actually, like if you were to go do that, you'd get penalized pretty badly, and that's where like. Ultimately, Google doesn't really care about your website.
That's a controversial statement. Say it again.
Google doesn't really care about your website.
Bam!
What they care about, Eric, as you know, think about it. Like, what does Google care about?
You finding stuff.
Yeah, like users finding stuff.
Search.
On their platform. Well, why is that important to them?
That's what they do. Well, they get money from it.
Yeah, because if people come to Google.com over and over and over and over and over and over again, then they can sell ads, right? Which is where they make money. And it's the most profitable thing that Google does.
Well, it's where they started, right? I mean, that's
where they started.
Yeah.
But they've done such a good job, right? And so, ultimately, Google doesn't care about your website. That's the first thing. They do not care about you. They care about their users finding really good answers to the questions and searches that they're making.
Like birthday cake.
Like birthday cake, right?
So like now, instead of keyword stuffing, SEO is like, hey, are you giving me something of value about the birthday cake?
Yeah.
You're making it easy to find information about the birthday cake.
So think more like if you're like, oh, how is Google deciding what ranks where, right? Think about it more like if Google was a real human being and it was asking these questions and it was putting in search queries, what would that human being want from an answer? They'd want it to be authoritative. They'd want it to be informative and like exhaustive maybe. They would want it to be entertaining and delightful. They'd want it to be interesting. They'd want it to be socially relevant. Like, oh, other people say this is good content, then I want to read it, right?
But they don't really care how it looks yet.
No, I mean, like
maybe someday.
Well, they do to a degree, right? So there's signals in the way that something looks that actually reflect how well it's presented to the
is it
user,
easy to find the information?
Does it load quickly, right?
Yeah, that's
is it easy to read? Is it readable? And more and more Google cares about, is it mobile friendly, right? So if I have a button on my page for a call to action, is that button clickable by my finger? Or is it a tiny bit of text that I can't even get to and it's so small? So there's some like light kind of design things that they care about. But mostly what they care about are the signals that tell them that people really like this content on this subject.
Now, they don't... we have here that they won't tell you how they rank you. Now, it's a real big secret. Everybody talks about the algorithm.
Yeah.
You know, but
the algorithm is not published.
What's the reason behind it staying secret?
Well, think back to SEO. That 10, 12, 15 years ago again, right? So their algorithm was a lot less sophisticated. People reverse engineered it. And what happened?
Games,
right? People would create keyword stuffed content that wasn't actually producing real value for the person looking for a birthday cake recipe.
It's just like clickbait.
It was just like clickbait. It was like, oh, you're at the top of the rankings. Wait, what? There's nothing here that's answering my question or helping me find that product or service that I'm trying to find.
Got it.
Right? I have a problem. I want a solution to it. But because you keyword stuffed it, it showed up first, even though it wasn't really relevant.
So you'd get like a steaming pile of poo if you just ended up on a
site. Yeah.
So you can't just call Google up and be like, hey, how do I make my, site really searchable?
Not least because try calling Google about anything. But yes, they're not going to give you any like details.
But that's intentional.
It's very intentional because they don't want people to game it. What they'd rather have is people actually create really compelling content and let them worry about what signals make that content relevant for their searches. Now, that being said, we're all marketers, right? So part of our job is to help the channels that we produce content on surface our content, right? To the right people, right? We want our audiences to find our good quality content that we're producing, right? We put a lot of time and energy into it.
It's like a guessing game.
Yeah. So I think it's fair for any marketer to say, I want to figure out what signals matter.
Sure.
I think that's great. I think that's a really right response. It's not going to come from Google, though, right? So where can you go? Well, there's lots of tools and there's lots of experts out there. There's a few that we mentioned in our blog post. You can go find links there. But we've highlighted a couple. One that I love is Moz. They have some great free tools. They've got a great paid tool to help you uncover some of the signals that are telling Google or any other search engine how well your content is doing.
But how did they know?
Yeah,
like that's it seems like they've unlocked something.
So what they've done, like Moz is really interesting. They've actually created their own bot, just like Google, that goes and scrapes web pages, and then they input signals, right? They say like, all right, let's isolate. Let's say maybe it's links, right? Links in from other websites. That's what we want to determine. How much authority does that have for what Google puts authority on different signals, right? Let's say it's inbound links to your website. Well, they will test that, right? They'll create their own websites. they'll run them through their bot, right? They go scrape them. They'll kind of go, hey, based on the algorithm we've created, we think they should rank 157th for this search, right? But in reality, they'll go and check Google, and they'll be like, oh, you're at 245th. So what's different there? Let's isolate those variables. Let's keep testing them. So
they'll report out to you, you should do this to improve your ranking based on our tests that we've done.
So they've already decided there's certain things that are ranking value, right?
Got it.
Moz really focuses particularly on inbound linking and internal linking between pages on your website. That's kind of where they're heavily focused. Other tools will help you measure other variables.
And because from a philosophical level, like if I go, hey, there are sites out there linking to my site, that in my human mind goes, well, that site must be an authority.
Yeah, it'd be like
people are linking, right?
If you're talking with some friends and you talk individually to 5 different friends and they all recommend the same plumbing service.
Right.
You would go, wow, like that plumbing service must be really good at what they do because all 5 of my friends made the same recommendation, right? So links into your website, right? Other websites that link to your website are essentially like
friends telling you that it's good,
telling their friends that what you have to offer is good.
And that's only one little piece of the SEO puzzle, but that's a good example of why it would matter.
It's actually a big piece. Yeah, it's a really big piece. So that's a whole nother article that we can do, but
we can go too deep.
Yeah, we can get too deep. So Moz is great. They've also got a great blog. They've got great forums, lots of free content. Another one is Raven Tools. They do have a really good measurement tool for tracking SEO. So, I mean, there's lots of different tools, and you can kind of aggregate as many as you want. You can pick a couple, pick one. It's some work, right? You got to get it set up. You got to kind of know what you're doing with those tools. That's where things get a little tricky. If you're brand new to SEO, you know, hey, 27-year-old marketing director, and you've never even opened the SEO box before.
Right.
Yeah, might want to, like, hire a consultant, hire an agency to help you get that process started. You know, over time, maybe as you grow and you build your team, you might be able to take some of that in-house. But
so I don't have to DIY all this.
No.
Okay.
You can if you want.
But so we know this in the marketing space. There's a lot of people out there that'll say they can do anything, but then they can't really execute. So if a marketing director is looking for a partner in SEO, what's a sign that, hey, this group, this agency, or whatever might be on the right track? Like, what do they need to do to gain your confidence?
So I think one thing that you should be looking for is someone who's going to do an audit first. That isn't going to just jump into your website, start making changes, tweaking stuff, without an audit that kind of uncovers where you're at, right, and gives you a plan for how to move forward in a strategic way.
So it kind of interprets the data coming out of these tools and puts it into something meaningful for you.
Yeah, and maybe step by step, like here's the first thing we're going to work on, and the next thing, and the next thing, right?
So discovery or audit first,
Yep.
recommendations, and then support on execution, I would say.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
And I'd also want to hear that they are wanting to plug into your larger content strategy. Right, because SEO
is that holistic.
Yeah, holistic, right? Like I think maybe like SEO has kind of been pigeonholed for a long time, especially because of the way it used to be. It was very technical. You know, 15 years ago, like you didn't really have to worry about how good your content was from a writing standpoint. You didn't have a very sophisticated content strategy. You could just keyword stuff, right? Do a little keyword research, plug some keywords into your pages, and boom, you're ranking, right? And there's still a lot of technical aspects to SEO still, but more and more, the quality of your content, how relevant it is to your audience, what audiences are you trying to reach with your content, how does it play into your larger content strategy really matters. And so you want to find a partner who can help, not just with technical, but can provide input into your strategy. They don't maybe have to execute it, but they need to know that this all needs to play together.
Okay. Got it. So recap, newer marketing directors looking to get a handle on SEO, important takeaways. One, SEO is a major piece of inbound marketing. You can't ignore it. You can't just go focus on writing blogs and hope everything will turn out okay. Got to pay attention to other things. I love this one. Google doesn't care about your site. It's not about how pretty it is necessarily. It's about how searchable it is, how easy it is for people to find information about that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles birthday cake. Google intentionally keeps their algorithm a secret because if they did share it with us, we'd all end up with a steaming pile of poo or a very gamed internet where we can't really find anything relevant. It's just keyword stuffing all over the place. No, you can't call Google and get the answer. That's just for me. Nope. And then in terms of what to do about it, how to improve your SEO game, using tools like Moz, Raven tools, engaging a knowledgeable vendor or partner. Basically, you don't have to DIY it. And then looking for a partner that thinks about SEO holistically in terms of the greater content strategy for your site. So if you got a CEO that says it's all about SEO, your response could be, SEO is important, but it's part of a bigger content strategy. Let me help you understand how SEO works. Bam! Now you got some knowledge to drop on that CEO. Unseat the CEO hashtag. Anyway, no? Okay. Anyway, that's our whiteboard for today.
Yeah.
I just overstepped my bounds.
That's fine.